Everyone thinks vaping is harmless, but almost no one knows what it's slowly turning us into. For the first time in history, we've created an addiction that looks clean, smells good, and doesn't feel like an addiction at all. But what if the real danger of vaping has nothing to do with the lungs, and everything to do with control, profit, and a hidden shift happening to an entire generation? Because once you see the truth, you'll understand why vaping is not just a habit. It's a blueprint, a test, a quiet experiment shaping the future of human addiction, right in front of us. Vaping exploded so fast that most people forgot to ask a simple question. Why did this become normal so quickly? Think about it. Smoking was dying. Cigarette use was collapsing year after year, and then, almost overnight, vaping devices were everywhere. Bright colors, fruity flavors, USB-looking shapes, minimal smell, zero evidence left behind. It didn't just replace smoking, it rebranded it. Vaping didn't feel like a dangerous habit. It felt like a lifestyle accessory. And that's the first hidden truth. But if vaping was created to help adults quit smoking, then why was it designed to be so irresistible to people who never smoked at all? Because the real money isn't in helping smokers quit. It's in creating new lifelong customers who weren't addicted to anything before. This wasn't an accident. It was designed. Look at the timeline. As vaping sales skyrocketed, cigarette companies quietly bought in. They didn't fight vaping, they bought the companies behind it. Why? Because nicotine profits were dying, and vaping was a second chance. The quit smoking tool? That was just the PR mask. The real goal was to build a perfectly engineered addiction system, one that could grow faster, spread easier, and feel safer than smoking ever did. Here's the most disturbing part. Most vapers aren't addicted to nicotine. They're addicted to the ritual. The hand movement, the inhale, the exhale, the subtle throat hit, the tiny buzz that disappears in 20 seconds. So you hit it again. This is dopamine training. Micro rewards. Fast, constant, looping. Like a slot machine disguised as a breath. But why did companies design vaping to be so smooth? Why make an addictive substance that doesn't feel dangerous at all? Because fear limits profits. Smoothness increases them. Cigarettes burn. They smell. Your chest hurts. Your throat scratches. Those signals warn you to stop. Vaping removes those signals. It turns addiction into something frictionless. No smell? You can use it anywhere. No smoke? You can hit it constantly. No burn? Your body doesn't fight back. It's the perfect drug. One that doesn't feel like a drug. And companies knew exactly what they were doing. They engineered devices that deliver higher nicotine, faster, smoother, sometimes even more addictive than cigarettes ever were. Some disposables contain the nicotine of 200 to 300 cigarettes. But you don't notice, because it feels soft, like nothing's happening, while everything is happening. This is where things get darker. Because the biggest danger of vaping isn't physical, it's psychological. The modern vape device is the first addiction designed for the digital age. Silent, portable, rewires your attention, destroys your stress response, becomes part of your identity, kills boredom instantly, gives you a reward hit every few minutes. We've never had something like this. A cigarette forces you outside. A vape pulls you deeper inside yourself. Why do you think anxiety has skyrocketed in the same years vaping became mainstream? Why are millions struggling with focus, sleep, mood, even when they don't feel addicted? Nicotine rewires your baseline brain chemistry. It raises your stress levels when you're not using it, then convinces you the vape is calming you down, when really it's just fixing the withdrawal it created. Millions think they're vaping because they're stressed, but the truth is the opposite. They're stressed because they vape. It's the same system casinos use, the same system social media uses, the same system porn addiction uses. Tiny dopamine hits, over and over, until nothing feels normal anymore. But that's not the final twist.
But at this point, you might be wondering something. If vaping really affects the brain this deeply, if it changes stress, attention, mood, and reward, then why do so many people swear it helps them function better? Why do millions say it calms them, helps them think, even helps them feel normal again? And more importantly, if the vape is causing the chaos, then why does life feel even worse without it? The answer to that question: it is the part no company ever wants you to understand. This is where everything connects. Vaping isn't the end goal. It's the prototype, a test to see how far companies can push human addiction when there's no smell, no stigma, no barrier, no limit, no shame. If a generation can be hooked on air flavored with chemicals, then imagine what's coming next. Smart inhalers with built-in tracking, subscription-based pods, AI-driven flavor systems that adapt to your cravings, bioenhanced stimulants disguised as focus pens. Vaping softened the world for what's coming next. It normalized the idea that you need a device to regulate your emotions. You need a hit to handle boredom. You need something in your hand to feel normal. You always need just one more. And no one questions it because everyone thinks they're in control. But the truth is, this is the first addiction designed not to feel like one. The first drug engineered to be invisible. The first habit that looks harmless while quietly shaping how an entire generation thinks, feels, and copes. So if vaping is already this powerful, what happens when the next version isn't just nicotine? What happens when companies realize we'll inhale anything as long as it tastes good and feels safe? That's the real hidden truth. Vaping isn't just a health debate. It's the opening chapter of a future where addiction is engineered, customized, frictionless, and rewarded. Where your stress, boredom, and emotions are marketplaces. Where companies study your cravings like data points. Where the next generation doesn't just inhale nicotine, but a system built to own their attention, their mood, and eventually, their identity. The question isn't whether vaping is dangerous. The question is, what are they preparing us for next? But maybe the real question is this: what does it say about us that devices designed to help us slowly started shaping the way we cope with the world? Think about it. A generation that deals with stress, boredom, pressure, and loneliness through a ritual of vapor. Tiny hits that promise relief but quietly build dependence. And every year, both sides of the debate grow louder. Safer than smoking, still dangerous. Better alternative. Long-term unknowns. But behind all the arguments, there's something bigger. Something no statistic fully captures. Vaping didn't just replace cigarettes. It replaced the mechanism people use to regulate their emotions. And once something becomes your coping system, removing it leaves a hole most people never prepared to fill. So the real danger might not be the clouds you inhale, but the empty space left behind when the habit finally disappears. What fills that space? That's the question no study, no doctor, and no government has answered yet. But if we don't ask it now, we might not like who ends up answering it for us.